Welcome in. It is Braves Central. Barrett Sallee and Chris Dimino. We're with you. Last road series of the season. Braves and Tigers from Comerica Park. Tigers, of course, still in the mix to win the World Series. This series, Chris, before the season looked like it could be huge for both teams. Now, obviously, not so much, but it'll be fun to see a team in Detroit that has a lot to play for, and always fun to see Charlie Morton, because you look at Charlie, he's been a big part of not only the franchise as it is right now, including the run in 2021, but I mean, this is a guy who's kind of, to me, always going to be viewed as a Brave, even though he had significant time elsewhere as well.
Yeah, look, at the end of the day, Clayton Kershaw announced his retirement yesterday. Charlie Morton is not, and I'm not telling you it's the same thing, but Charlie Morton probably, if he wants to, might have a chance to pitch next year again, because, again, we're looking for 150 guys that you trust enough to give the baseball to. Now, how many starts would it be? What would the effectiveness be? I don't know, but I actually think it's more in his hands than we would have thought it would have been, as he went to Baltimore and was terrible in the first couple of months of the season. Detroit, like I thought somebody should have done with Verlander, said, you know what, there are certain things to guys like him that if they find it, they can give me a 5-inning stint, a 6-inning stint, not all the time, but enough times. And it's really interesting because it's a really big game. They just got swept by Cleveland. They only have a 3.5 game lead now in the division. And while they would have a more comfortable lead, obviously, if Cleveland catches them in the wild card, you'd like to not have to deal with what goes on in the beginning of the playoffs. So, and you'd like every advantage you could have, including home field, if that's a thing for you. So Charlie Morton, he's pitching in a big game. We missed Scooble because he went yesterday, and he comes back after that scare. He threw fine yesterday, but they still lost the game. Detroit's offense, which, you know, if you look at Riley Green, good player. Carpenter's had a good year. Baez is supposed to be better than he is. But there's some things there. They got a 34 home run guy. They got a 29 home run guy, 26 home run guy. Even in that ballpark, they can find runs. They've just been on a skid for a while now.
Yeah, they have been. It's been interesting to see. I mean, Gleyber Torres, I think, one of the surprises of the entire season anywhere. And then, I mean, Spencer Torkelson he's not going to provide get on base all that much, but he can provide a little pop too. It's one of those teams, they don't do anything overtly great other than pitch, but they do a lot of solid things that play well in that park. For the Braves, I don't think anybody can keep Matt Olson in any park. He's sitting there. He'll never tell you this, and I mean, you know this, Chris, as well as I do. 30-100 means something. I mean, it does. You know, you look at that on the back of your baseball card, and you're like, okay, wow, this is something I accomplished. Your agent can look at that and say, okay, look what my guy can do. He can go 30-100. He's sitting there 28 and 92 right now. The 92 RBI might be a little harder to get to 100, because I think right now it's hard for some of the Braves to get on base for Matt to drive anybody else other than himself in. But it would be awesome to see Matt get to that point. And I think right now he's certainly trending in that direction.
Well, 30-100 says, well, it wasn't his fault. And whether it was or not, it doesn't matter. 30 and 100 and hitting 280, people will look back at the season and say, you finished this many games on a 500, but that guy went 30 and 100, hitting 280, so it must not have been his fault. Now, is he collecting them, a bunch of them at the end of the year when it doesn't matter as much? Sure, but that doesn't mean people aren't trying to get you out. That doesn't mean that people are just saying, here, take a fatty. You know, you still have to hit a baseball far enough for it to be a home run in whatever park you're playing in. You still have to get guys on base and knock them in. Look, he's 2 3-run home runs away from really having that be a possibility where 30 and 100 does become a thing. It's not a big hitter's park here. It's more of a pitcher's park, but there's some gap territory. There's some doubles to be had, no doubt about it. I think when they first opened it up, I'm trying to remember how many years it took before they moved the fences in a little bit, because it was big. It wasn't big. Yeah. It was big for a while. And I think at some point they realized, okay, it might be good for our pitchers, but we're still going to have to worry about scoring runs. They moved the fences in. They might have even done it twice. I'm not even sure at this point. That park's a little bit older than maybe people remember. I'll just tell you, I know you were talking a little bit about Detroit. Last time I was in Detroit, a few times. I was there for a Hawks series against the Pistons one year. We went up for that, and then we were there for the Super Bowl. And when I tell you that we stepped over crackheads to get out of our not a hotel, it was definitely a motel, doors on the outside, bars on the windows, even on the second floor. I want you to think about that. When you put bars on a window of the second floor of a motel, you know you're in a place that, well, whatever. But yeah, and then the other thing I remember is going to a casino there, and playing craps. I remember two things. I remember playing craps, but let's just say they never got the Surgeon General warning about smoking, because you almost needed people to call out what the dice roll was, because there was so much smoke in that casino. You could not see to the end of the craps table. And here's the other thing. We went to a Red Wings game, and between the first and second period, the whole building emptied. Like, I was looking around going, what the hell's going on around here? Like, everybody was out of their seat and gone. Then we found out what it was is the smokers. They made this thing that you couldn't smoke right in there, but boy, you could smoke right in the corridors and every place else. The entire building just emptied out. We walked out. We were like, what the hell? Where'd everybody go? And I'll tell you where they went. They were all striking up sticks. And I mean, I saw 82-year-old men smoking. I saw 12-year-old kids smoking. Detroit, I don't know if they were the last bastion, and I'm assuming they've probably realized now not very healthy. They might have been the last bastion of the cigarette folks. Like, if there was ever a lobbying group, I would imagine they had an office right there in Detroit, because I've never seen that many people. My dad smoked upwards of 3 packs a day. I'm telling you this. There were people who were sitting in those seats because they couldn't smoke there, eating cigarettes. You just might as well eat them because you can't smoke them there. Detroit was weird, and they spent a lot of money lately. They had a great Italian food area, too. I do remember that. But they spent a lot of money to clean it up. I was there pre-cleanup, and let's just say, yeah, it needed some money and some scrubbing.
Well, hopefully don't get into trouble. Let's just baby steps then. Let's not get none of the Braves get in trouble in Detroit.
You got to avoid Canada. You got to make sure that you got your passport if you're going to go to Canada and have a little bit of fun. That Checkpoint Charlie thing is still pretty real.
Yeah. If you go over to Windsor, make sure you have proper documentation. Strider goes on Sunday. It's been fun to watch him because he struggled. Then he kind of figured out how to pitch without his fastball going at the velo it needs to be. Then he started getting into a situation where he wasn't striking anybody out. Now he's doing both. His fastball's up a little bit. His shape of his slider is back to a point where he feels comfortable. He's throwing more sliders. He's throwing more curveballs. It's been awesome to see Spencer Strider sort of put this whole puzzle together, because he's never had to do this before. He's never been in a situation where he really just can't overpower you. He's learning how to pitch, and he's done a really good job of that lately. I'm fascinated to see what he can do in a pitcher's park, because you're talking about a guy who you put it all together and he can be elite like he once was, and better than he once was. So I like watching him sort of use this time as sort of a science project, so to speak.
Depending upon what happens in the first 2 games, Detroit could be a very desperate team come Sunday. You're going to get your best shot. I think the Joey Wentz start is more interesting than any of them, because Joey Wentz has got something to prove. He's going against the lineup that is, I don't want to say controllable, but it's close to controllable. Again, Riley Green, Carpenter, Torres, you talk about Baez is supposed to be better than he's been, but they've got a little bit of talent. Torkelson is a guy that can obviously go deep as well. So the Joey Wentz start, to me, I hope I don't say this very often, I hope he pitches to the park. Relax, it's a bigger park. You can actually get away with maybe a tick more, certainly against some of the guys in the lineup. Throw it down the middle of the plate. Don't get behind. Don't have the big 3-run inning where your manager's looking around going, okay, am I supposed to put him out there for the next one? 2 guys get on, and then you got to make the change, and you got to go to your bullpen a little bit earlier. I think while the Strider start is more significant because it's a bigger name, and we just want to see him get on a momentum roll, if there is such thing at the end of September with 4 months off, I think the Joey Wentz start might actually be a little bit more important, big picture, to find out, is he a guy that you're going to look at? And I've told you, he's not supposed to be in your starting rotation next year. He's not. But is he a guy that you look and go, is he a long guy? Are he and Suarez fighting for a spot maybe in a bullpen to be a long guy? Because you're only going to carry really one of those guys. Do you have internal options for your bullpen? A bullpen that we say needs fixing. Well, is Suarez an internal option? Is Wentz an internal option? I think Bryce Elder's probably going to be a starter if he's not up here, and I don't think he will be. He might be down because he's still got an option left and Joey Wentz doesn't. So of all the things I'm looking at this weekend, it might actually be Wentz more than anything else.
It'll be an interesting weekend. Last road trip of the season before they return home for 6 back here at Truist Park. A lot going on over here in the course of the next week. The Braves are doing a great job in terms of promotion. So we'll be on the road for 3 more days and then hope to see all the fans around here, around Truist Park, around the Battery over the course of the final week of the season as the Braves celebrate Fan Appreciation Month, wrap up Fan Appreciation Month. He's Chris Dimino and I'm Barrett Sully. This has been Braves Central. We'll talk to you on Monday.